When I need answers about anything to do with personal growth, I go straight to my mom and my aunt. Here they are, Priscilla Babin and Tina Gilliatt with the Sister Sauce.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tina Gilliatt. This is my sister, Priscilla Babin.
Hello.
We are here to dish out the sister sauce today. Before we go into our hot sauce with Priscilla, I wanted to share with you that we got some really good feedback about the caregiving episode that we did last week. And we've gotten some good feedback about the other episodes too, huh, Pris?
Yeah, it's really nice to hear from people and see what people are enjoying. What it was there.
It's exciting. And it's a variety of people too, all ages and backgrounds and sexual orientation and all that good stuff. Yeah, it's been really fun to hear comments, and to think that somebody would actually sit and listen to us for a whole hour just makes my heart sing, you know. But I do feel like we're really good conversationalists, so that helps. We're going to start today off, as we always do every episode, with our hot sauce. Priscilla, you have the hot sauce for today. What you got to tell us?
This is the kind of hot sauce that really gets you hot and spicy. That doesn't sound right.
It's peppery. It's peppery hot sauce.
We were getting a little hot under the collar, as you might say, with our hot sauce the last few days discussing insurance. And that's going to make everybody else's blood steam up. Just the thought of insurance, health insurance. Here's my question. Just my question I'm putting out into the great void. Why? Why is the care of our teeth and our mouth and our eyes not part of our medical insurance? Our mouth is in our body and our eyes are in our body. And everybody knows from listening to the dentist commercials that if you let your teeth go, you'll get sick and die. You need to take care of your teeth. Right? That's what the guy on the commercial says every day. I hear him saying that, if you don't get your dental cleanings, it causes a million other problems. So you need to take care of your mouth and your eyes. You can't see. You're going to walk out in the street and get run over by a truck. So you have to go get your eyes taken care of. You got to buy glasses. Why is it hard? They go together. I'm making very angry gestures for those listening on the podcast.
They're not vulgar, though. I'll just clarify. No, they're not vulgar gestures.
I'm just enraged.
Oh, it is. It's infuriating. You know that I have put out, I think by the end of this year, we don't typically go beyond the standard deduction with our tax returns. And this year I told AJ, we are going to have to do the itemized deductions because just in the last 3 months, we've had over $10,000 out of pocket medical expenses. This isn't covered. That's not covered. And we're looking forward to starting January with oral surgery for Livia and $2,500 for that. So it is ridiculous. I'm all for it covering everything. Can we start a petition or something?
I don't know. I don't know what could be done about that because everybody's got to be angry. Everybody in the United States got to be angry about this.
So if anybody has any suggestions about how we can make the healthcare industry better, we'll listen. We can't do anything about it, but we'll listen because we want to hear it.
Whose office do we need to march outside of?
Really?
Fine.
You don't want to mess with the sisters. The sisters are going to protest. Well, we have a really great topic that we're going to talk about today for our meat sauce, and that is social media. I know what that is now.
Social media.
Social media. Social meat sauce. Social media. Yeah, interesting topic. We want to talk today about the benefits of social media and the cons of it, the pros and the cons. But Priscilla, I'll let you start out because I know you did way more research than I did. I have a lot to chime in, but you have more official words.
Well, we both did some research on it, and I had looked up how many social media apps or websites are there, and I found 50, but Tina found 40 more. Or no, I don't remember exactly my number, but it was over 40, over 44 of them, because I had to extend the menu. But Tina found almost 90 of them. And we're not going to list all of those because we would take up our whole show listing social media. I haven't heard of like 90% of these, I don't think. But everybody knows the big ones. Of course, Facebook being the most popular. That was one of the things that I found, was that Facebook seems to be the biggest numbers of people using it. And then you've got, of course, Instagram, which is a partner with Facebook, which is
both owned by Meta, correct? Yeah.
And TikTok is pretty big. YouTube is, I didn't think YouTube was a social media, but I guess they count it.
It is considered, yeah.
Is right under Facebook as far as popularity. And of course, Twitter, which is now called X, is still pretty popular, although it has kind of waned a little bit. And there's some differences depending on how old people are, education level, financial status and stuff like that. All of that seems to play in a little bit with who uses what. So there's different levels, and we have a website that a page of a website that we're going to include in our show notes probably, that shows all of this and much more that got really over my head. I couldn't handle all the facts and figures. But I mean, there is so many, and it seems like there's constantly more. I know I've heard of some of them, like WhatsApp is a good one for communicating back and forth in groups. I don't think it's quite what the other ones are as far as having the marketing or the news websites on them.
I can tell you WhatsApp. I have WhatsApp. And the reason I have WhatsApp is because I've served on international teams and Toastmasters. Mm-hmm. And so it's not always easy for us to call or text our friends in India or wherever. I mean, we had people on our team from all over the world when I was managing one team. And WhatsApp was a saving grace for us. Also, I belong to a WhatsApp group for district directors from the year that I was a district director in Toastmasters, and we're from all over the world. I think 100 countries, but it allows you to communicate all in one place, and it's sort of a group text kind of feel, but it's not all these texts coming to your phone. So it's good. To be quite honest, I hate adding new things like that to my phone because I feel like I'm already overwhelmed with notifications, but
everything
does serve a good purpose.
Every single thing has an app. Every shop you can shop at, everything's got an app.
Yeah, so, and I will admit that one of that when I was counting, I think I double counted some. So I'm not sure there are as many as I thought there were, but
I don't see any
I'm noticing that I have some of them on my list twice. So I think it was just the way I ordered the list.
It's definitely more than I found. There's so many you don't want to look at all. One that I used to have, and I think you used to use it too, or you tried it once, was Meetup. Did you have that one?
Yeah.
The Meetup is real good if you have a business, or like if you teach classes. I was teaching Zumba classes, and I was trying to get market by word of mouth, and on there, if you have a business, you can offer some deals and stuff, or you can advertise deals if you have it on something else like Groupon, which is one of the marketing platforms. Another one, my kids use Discord, and my son was in particular using Discord a lot before he had his own dedicated cell phone number. He had a cell phone that I let him use only on Wi-Fi and he used it in the house. And his sister recommended that he have Discord so that he could have conversations or text. It's like texting, it's messaging back and forth with friends when he would be playing games with them online. And that was really nice, Discord, especially during COVID.
Oh, yeah. And you can do Discord phone calls as well.
Yeah.
So a few weeks ago when Livia's phone crashed on her, she took her iPad to school with her and just got onto Discord. And I'm on Discord, but the only person I'm connected with on Discord, I think, is Livia. Mm-hmm. Maybe one other person that saw me on there and sent me a request to connect. But she sends me a lot of things through Discord now because we're connected in that way. And it was a lifesaver when her phone crashed and we had no way to get in touch with her except Discord. And so we would connect through Discord to find out what time her class got out and all that good stuff. And it was, so Discord definitely is a good one, especially like you said, it only works if you have a Wi-Fi connection, but pretty much anywhere you go now, you can get a Wi-Fi connection if you're inside of a building. You know, businesses have guest Wi-Fi, and that's a good one.
Data?
What?
Does it not work off of data at all?
Well, you don't have a data plan. It may work off of data if you have it on your cell phone.
Oh, you meant on the iPad. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And with Joey, he just didn't have a cellular plan yet.
Right.
Like from Verizon or whatever. He just had an old phone that he was using. Right. One of ours. So that's, so that's an idea if you have kids and you want to police their social media, don't let them have a cell phone, or you can don't let them have a cell phone with a phone number and just use different ways. But that's a whole nother part of this topic.
Well, and I noticed we have Twitter on our list, but Twitter is now X, and you guys heard my rant about that last week. I think it's so ridiculous, but anyway. I also have, and I know you do as well, Snapchat. Oh, yeah. Clover tried to teach me how to use Snapchat, and I still don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to use Instagram that well. I keep messing it up. And so Facebook, Twitter, or X are the two that I am most comfortable with. I have LinkedIn as well. I've never thought of LinkedIn as a social media, although it is counted as one now because it's business oriented, right? But more recently, I am so frustrated with LinkedIn because people want to connect. And then as soon as you connect, they start bombarding you with, hey, Tina, can I interest you in taking this class that I'm teaching? And I'm thinking, and now I have the same response that I send back to everybody that tries to connect with me on LinkedIn. I am nearing retirement and gearing up for that, but thank you for asking. And I'm thinking seriously about taking my LinkedIn profile down because I'm 62 years old. I'm not looking for a job. I liked having it because I did connect with some old friends that aren't on other social media platforms, but I don't know if it's worth it anymore.
Yeah. I know. I'm looking at all these. I'm wondering what some of these are. It's a lot of these are dating type sites like Tinder.
Yeah.
There's I know Patreon or Patreon. I'm not sure how you pronounce the A. That one is for supporting like streamers and stuff.
So is Twitch. So Twitch is a good gaming platform. Livia uses it to record gaming videos. And Nextdoor is the neighborhood.
Nextdoor was the one I was going to say too.
Yeah. Hootsuite is a social media management tool. So Hootsuite, if you are a social media manager like I am for the church or for an organization, you can schedule posts. I know you did that a lot for your business, Press, was to schedule posts in Meta or in the page manager in Facebook, but you can also do it through external apps. I think Hootsuite allows you to schedule Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and maybe one other one. And a lot of these ones, though, you have to pay for them. And gets quite expensive when you're paying $15 a month to these different applications.
Right. And as discussed on our previous episode, it is very expensive with all the different streaming apps too. You end up paying nickel and dime for all of these little things.
It's true. You got to be careful what you sign up for. Well, I know you had some insights that you found in your research. Do you want to share those?
Yeah. I had found that more than half of the world now uses social media. At least 60% of people worldwide are on some kind of social media.
Good gravy.
Which
That's
is just
really surprising, because you think about young and old, and if you would eliminate them
and
only look at like the people in that middle group that you would think would use it, that's a lot of people.
And then socioeconomic status.
True. You know, true. How many people have access to the internet or to cell phones, right?
You know, remember how accessible it is. 4.8 billion people around the world now use social media. 150 million new users have come online just in the last year.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's crazy. That's a lot.
And how long are they on the social media? The average daily time spent using social media is about 2.5 hours.
We're not gonna talk about screen time. Move on, please.
Yeah, no, let's. Like I said, Facebook and YouTube are the two top most popular. Nearly 1/3 of Americans get their news from Facebook, and I'm gonna have to confess that I am one in that 1/3 because I don't watch regular television and I don't get a newspaper. So I follow the local news outlets on Facebook. So that's how I see what's going on. And half the time they're reporting stuff from other states and cities that has nothing to do with me.
And the challenge there is, we'll talk about it later though, is knowing which ones are reliable. So
yeah. Age group wise, I looked at one that was grouping people by age group, and it showed different age ranges, and the lowest age range it has was 18 to 29, which I thought was very limiting because I know there's a lot of people under 18 on social media, including my kids. Well, not my youngest. He's still 12, and all of these sites have a
13,
minimum age of 13. A lot of people I know let their kids lie about their birth date and sign on for it early, and I'm not going to name any names or anything.
Okay, I will just interject here that, I did the same thing. I wouldn't let my kids get on social media until they were 13. Why? Because as they were signing up, they would have had to lie about their age. And if I told them it was okay to lie about their age, then I was giving them permission to lie about anything.
That's how
I felt about it. And it's a personal choice, and we're not going to condemn anybody for letting their kids get on, but you have to be really careful too if you're going to let your kids get on there.
Yeah, there's reasons why 13 is the minimum, and I'll share something about that later. But that was the lowest age group they had was 18 to 29. The middle age group they had was 30 to 49, and then older than that, I think I didn't even write down any of the data from the older age group, but was 50 and upwards. I don't remember if they capped it off anywhere. I'm 50 and I'm very active on social media, at least looking. I scroll a lot.
Right.
I don't post a lot, but I scroll a lot. I hardly ever post anything anymore. I used to post a lot more, especially when I was running my business. But the age groups, the largest age groups for Facebook, YouTube, Reddit, and LinkedIn was the 30 to 49 age group.
Wow.
Which I thought was interesting.
That is interesting. Well, LinkedIn, it makes sense, right? Because we're professional
business people. Yeah.
But, and then, I mean, you and I have both heard from our kids that Facebook is outdated and etc.
It's true.
I get that one too. But YouTube, I mean, I know Joe likes YouTube and I
Yeah,
know
I'm
my,
surprised by YouTube. And
yeah,
then it's all those people my age who are trying to fix stuff around their house and need a tutorial.
I know. That's what I'm thinking. Like YouTube, you would think it would be 75 and up. No, not really. But I mean, anything you ever want to learn how to do, you can find it on YouTube, no
Yeah.
doubt. Last night, I went through that. I was trying to fix something on our church's YouTube channel. And I went and Googled it, and a YouTube video came up that showed me exactly what to do to fix the situation I had on YouTube, which was really interesting. But it worked.
YouTubeception.
My thumbnails were not updating, and I said there's got to be a way to fix this, and it I found it and it worked.
There you go. And the 18 to 29, which was the younger age group they listed, those were the highest for X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. Now, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok does not surprise me that those age groups would be most interested in those, because
Right.
I know that my 16-year-old is all over Snapchat and Instagram and TikTok. Not as much TikTok lately. I think it's fading a little, to be
Yeah.
honest. But
Yeah.
those are the those are the two three that are the two three. Those are the three that the young people seem to be most all over. And I'm like you with the Snapchat. I don't really get the appeal of it. Every once in a while, they'll send me stuff from Snapchat that's like things that other people, because you can share videos and stuff on there publicly, just like on Instagram. I don't really understand it. And I don't understand how you get to stuff on there. And I get frustrated because there's an ad every minute. Like you watch 1 minute and then there's an ad, and then you watch another minute and there's an ad. And I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So it frustrates me. But the only thing I do on Snapchat is every once in a while I'll go on there and play with the silly picture filters, so I can see myself dressed like Santa Claus or have a mustache or whatever, So I don't know what the appeal is exactly. I guess the young kids like it because they can send stuff to their friends that doesn't store on their phone. And if somebody takes a screenshot of it, it lets you know. So then you know, but they can still do it.
Oh, it lets you know if somebody takes a screenshot of your Instagram post?
No, of your Snapchat.
Oh, I'm sorry, Snapchat. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
Wow,
I think
that's
it alerts you.
interesting.
Yeah,
That's
I believe so.
interesting.
I think that's what I was told.
That's why I mean, people think that they're safe if they do something to screw up. And God knows I have screwed up a couple of times on Facebook and posted things accidentally that I didn't think I was sharing with the world.
The touch screen is the devil.
Oh my goodness. Wow. In my case, I just thought I was in a group and I wasn't in the group. And I posted something to my personal page that I was venting about, and the person I was venting about who I love very dearly, I didn't want them to see it. But anyway, I confessed and apologized, and it's in the past. But so we talked a little bit in preparation for today about politics, but I know you had some statistics about that too.
Yeah, apparently Republicans are less likely to be on social media than Democrats, which based
That's
on
interesting.
my Facebook feed, that's real surprising. Because my friends who are Republicans are extremely vocal. But I am not picking any teams.
Me neither.
I
don't even pick any teams on election day.
For real. No. You have to
it's all well, it's all relative.
Mm-hmm. And then and there was a race related statistic. I really didn't care for the idea of them breaking it down by race, but white people seem to like social media more than anybody else, which is not surprising to me.
Oh, well, when you think about it, minority groups are targeted a lot of times, right? So
Mhm.
that makes sense. I wouldn't want to be on Facebook if I knew I was going to be the victim of racism or whatever.
Yeah. Well, if anybody knows the comedian Bo Burnham, is not for young audiences. I'll just say that. But he has his humor sometimes is very dark, but he's also very intelligent, very talented guy. But he has a whole song he wrote about a white woman's Instagram, and it's hilarious. It is exactly spot on.
Oh gosh.
And then college education seems to be a higher group for X, formerly known as Twitter, Reddit, and LinkedIn, which LinkedIn is definitely not surprising with to have more college educated people since it's a business oriented site.
Right.
And then Twitter, it kind of doesn't surprise me either. I can't really explain why it doesn't surprise me, but I feel like Twitter is I don't know, it just lends itself to more people who are all about sharing intelligent thoughts, but there's a lot of people on there who share a lot of really unintelligent thoughts. So
yes, for sure. Yeah.
Reddit, I don't have a Reddit account, but I go on there a lot, and it's generally to find information because people talk so much on there, back and forth and sharing things, opinion, not necessarily just opinions, but there is a lot of opinions on there. What my impression of Reddit has been is that there's a lot of negativity on there, a lot of complaining about people or bad mouthing, or criticizing whatever TV shows, movies, famous people, whatever they can find to criticize. There's a lot of grumpy people on Reddit, but they also have a lot of people who are very into their fandoms. And if you're trying to find out something about a game you're playing, like if my son is playing a new game and he gets stuck, a lot of times I can find the answer to how to get unstuck in the game by going on Reddit. And I don't go straight to Reddit, but that's what's popping up in my
In the
searches.
search. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was one thing.
Well, I know you had some other statistics, and one of them that you shared with me was that the negative effects of social media happen mostly to girls ages 11 to 13 and boys 14 and 15. And that just scared me, which is another reason that I was hesitant for my kids to get on social media at any point, but had agreed to allow them to do it at the appropriate age of 13, which is what the platform stated. But even then, it's frightening. And I have watched enough of the Dateline and other shows, and even some of the fictitious shows that are based on real life crimes. There was a show, it's not on anymore, but it was all about cyber crimes, and I can't think of the name of it. You might be familiar with it, Priscilla, but it was
I remember you talking about it, but I can't think of the title.
Patricia Arquette. I think it was Patricia Arquette, and who used to be in Medium. But she ran this unit. It was like an FBI unit of cyber experts, and a lot of them were formerly hackers, but then became white hat hackers, I think is the appropriate term, where they would help the FBI. But I thought that was just alarming. And if you've ever seen like where there are people don't realize, and in one of the episodes of this show, it really upset me, was that the parents were very insistent that their child wasn't on social media, wasn't on the internet doing anything, but they totally neglected I'm not saying that they were bad for doing this. They just didn't know. They neglected to realize that their kid was on PlayStation, and PlayStation was connected to the internet, and they were chatting with people in a game that ended up getting them almost killed.
Mhm.
And so, and that was not make believe. The show was fictitious, but it was based on real life things.
Mhm.
People don't realize that you got to realize who your kids are talking to. And
Yeah.
we had some friends that had a family member that actually lost a young lady in their family because of a social media issue.
Mhm.
It's just
It's
awful.
heartbreaking, and it's really scary. But as parents, I think it's just like with what we've talked about when we were talking about TV shows. You have to know what your kids are doing, and if they are, they've got to grow up sometime. So
Yeah.
you've got to talk to them. You have to have this open line of communication. And for me, when my kids have gotten on social media, or things have changed so much with the games, like you say, with like PlayStation Online. My kids didn't really do PlayStation Online that much, but now we've got a Switch and we've got an Oculus, and they can get in these, there's talking. I can hear kids talking in the headset, and when my son is playing on the Switch, he's usually talking to people he knows in real life. And so I know these kids, and I feel safer about them because those are
Right.
his friends. And he knows, and all of my kids I've taught, don't talk to people you don't know online, and don't give out your address. Don't give out your real name, or at least your whole name. Don't give out your school you go to. There's certain things, and I preach it all the time, and I tell them, don't take a picture of yourself in your school uniform and make it public. I've had
Yeah.
some issues with that. That's an issue. Just a little teachable moment here. If you're on Facebook and you're posting pictures of your kids, I have some friends who go so far as to blur their kids' faces if they're in a picture, and don't share their kids' pictures at all publicly or with friends online. But I mean, I share pictures of my kids in their school uniform for first day of school, but I make sure it's set private to just me and my friends who are friends with me on Facebook, and I don't friend just anybody, And then if I post something else later and make it public, sometimes it will continue to make everything public. So you have to make sure you switch it back. If you don't switch it back on your next post, you might miss it, and you'll have posted something publicly, which means it doesn't mean everybody in the world is going to necessarily see it. But if one of your friends accidentally or intentionally shares it, like I have one friend who's elderly, and they have a tendency to just try to share anything that I post. And on their page, if it's something that was private, it will come up with that it was a private thing. It's like a little error notice. So people who aren't my friends that are friends with her will not be able to see it. But I don't know why she does it. And I'm not, it's not a big enough deal, because if I have it as private, it's there, nobody should be able to see it. But
you
that's one thing to
mentioned
be
something
mindful.
earlier today about screenshots, and we actually had a friend who privately, or not privately, but shared only with her friends pictures of her kids. And she shared with me later that somebody in her family had took a screenshot of her post and shared it to their own page publicly. And that is just rude, right?
Yeah, don't do that to people.
I stumbled on an old post, and I shared it again yesterday, where I had said to people, please, if you know somebody who loses a family member, do not share that news until the family members share it. Because I went through that when we lost PJ. The day he died, I sent out a prayer request, and one of my friends from my prayer request posted on Facebook saying, please pray for my friend. And she tagged me, who lost her son today. And I was at the hospital with my husband trying to deal with the loss of our son, and realizing the word was already out. And I hadn't even talked to everybody in the family yet, only the immediate family members. And I was like, that was a big mistake for me to use that prayer request, but I felt like it was a private thing between me and some friends. And my friend obviously didn't understand the impact of what she did. Not to mention the fact that several of PJ's friends posted on his page, rest in peace. And so then we had to do a quick
like a damage control
and post so that people would know what was going on. But so there's that, but there's also, it's just a certain amount of etiquette involved with social media. And we didn't really even have that on our list to talk about today. But man, I should teach a class in that, or we should, because I know you know a lot about it as well. There are just some things you just don't do. And so getting into that, though, there's a lot of cons about social media. And one of them that we talked about was our friend spam. And there's been so much of that lately. And I find myself in teaching mode constantly on Facebook where I'm telling people, this is how you spot spam. So if you will indulge me for a minute, and I know you'll probably have something to add to it, I want to share a couple of things about that. One is that these posts that are appearing in all these neighborhood groups where somebody found a dog on the side of the road that was injured, 9 times out of 10, that is spam. And I'm not even completely familiar with how it works, but my understanding is they get you to share the post. And once a bajillion people have shared the post, what they do is they go in and edit the post and put a viral link in it. And so you are essentially sharing this post that eventually is going to have a viral link in it. And you should be aware of that. And one of the ways you can spot it and know this is not a legitimate dog that's been missing is to go up in the search bar of Facebook and search some of the text that's in the post. This dog slept on my porch all night. This dog was found by the side of the road. Look at this sweet pup. Whatever the text is in that, if you take a phrase from it or even the whole paragraph and post it to the search, it'll pop up with all these other posts that have those same exact words. And you will suddenly notice that the dog that was found on the side of the road in Lakeview in New Orleans was also found in Miro in Chalmette and was also found in Michigan somewhere and in California. The same dog. He really makes his way around and he keeps getting hurt. He ends up on the side of the road every time.
Dog's not very bright.
So don't share it. And then the other thing is, if you see a post like that, if you click to go to the original post within that group, 2 tells. One is that you're not allowed to comment. Now, if I found the dog on the side of the road, I sure as heck would make comment available because I'd want people to say, hey, Tina, I think that's Joe's dog or whatever. So that's one way to tell it's spam is that they don't allow you to comment on the original post. Why? Because they don't want people to comment, this is a scam, don't share it. And then the other thing is, if the original poster is not always a profile, they are sometimes a page. But even when they're a profile, you'll notice they don't have any friends connected to them, or they have one friend. And it's probably somebody who saw their dog post and sent them a friend request, right?
And so, you can see when they joined the group. And most of the time, those just joined the group right when they did the post.
True.
That's one of the first things I notice. If I see something that I wonder if it's spam, if I see that it's somebody who's been in the group for a couple of years, then I go to the next step and say, are the comments on? Is this a regular person?
True. And then you can also, once you discover that that post is all over Facebook in different towns and everything, go the extra step and click on the 3 dots and report it to the group administrator.
Unfortunately, it doesn't always.
It doesn't always work. Yeah.
Facebook
a lot of group administrators don't follow through. Right. And then the other one thing that I wanted to mention is that any kind of post that talks about a child being kidnapped or missing, or this kid got shot in the head with a nail gun, please pray for him. You know how long that post has been going around social media. Take some words from that and just Google it. And usually Snopes or one of the other websites that report on that sort of thing will tell you if it's real or fake. And even if it's real, doesn't mean it's timely, because I think the kid with the nail gun thing happened in real life, truly, but it happened like 15 years ago and people are still sharing it. And I had commented one time on one of my friends' posts and said, this is like 12 years old and it's outdated. The little boy's fine. He was fine 2 months later. And my friend wrote back and said, well, it was worth sharing anyway, just in case. And it doesn't hurt. Oh, yeah, it does hurt. And it especially hurts when you keep sharing a picture of somebody else's kid over and over and over on the internet. And now people recognize that kid as the kid that got shot with the nail gun. And you're also, anytime the parents come across that share, they are reminded of this horrific event they went through. Or their child was sick and you were praying for them and they died. And suddenly for 22 years, they have to see every 2 days a post to pray for their child that died 8 years ago, or whatever, 22 years ago, whatever. And people don't realize the harm they're doing by sharing that garbage. And if you're not willing to take, I'm sorry, I'm being judgmental here, but if you're not willing to take the 1 minute or 2 minutes to Google something and make sure it's legit before you share it, you shouldn't be sharing. I'm done. Thank you.
You have to vet these things. If you don't validate it, don't share it.
Exactly.
Unless you got it from a personal friend and you know that, and your personal friends are going to share stuff that they shouldn't be sharing. So unless it's their personal business and they asked you to share, don't share it until you know.
There you go.
It doesn't take long. The Googling, I mean, all you got to do is highlight a couple of lines from the post and put it in quotations in Google. It takes 2 seconds.
Exactly.
Just do it.
Oh, and one other thing you made me think of, we could go on. This could be a whole topic by itself, spam and social media. But the one thing I wanted to mention that you made me think of too is all these posts that you see that say, thank you to Joe and Kathy for telling me about this Facebook policy. You can bet 100% of those are fake. Okay. You writing on your Facebook that you do not want them to use your picture or image is not going to change anything. Your security features within Facebook will control what gets shared and what doesn't, and what is seen and what is not. Don't fall prey to that. And this one cracks me up is they'll start the post out by saying, this is real. It was shared. It is the story of a personal friend or something along those lines. They'll say, this happened to my friend. Now, if I, as the spammer, post something and say, this happened to my friend, and then all of my friends copy and paste that, then suddenly I'm a third person down the line and I'm thinking this is legit because my friend said this happened to my friend. But legitimately, it didn't happen to their friend. They copied and pasted exactly what somebody else wrote. And they copied and pasted what somebody else wrote. It's the old
chainmail.
Sharing with two friends that share with two friends. Yeah, chainmail. Oh my gosh. Can you tell this is a subject that I'm passionate about?
I think so. Well, and there's also that one that it's a newer one that just started going like a couple months ago, where it looks like a link to a news article, and it says something like, I can't believe who died.
Oh, I know.
What a horrible accident. And a lot of times there'll be like typos in it, but then what happens is if the person tries to click on it because they think that it's something related to them that they need to know about, because when the first person clicks on it, it will repost on their page and tag several of their friends.
Yeah.
And it does it multiple times. And you don't know it's even doing it. So if you click on it and it's posting on your page and tagging your friends, you don't even know that it's happening. And then they're clicking on it. And it's viral. It's just it's viral on its own. It has its own.
It's true.
Life.
And then they'll say, my page has been hacked. No, pumpkin,
Yeah.
you clicked on something you shouldn't.
It's like somebody going.
But I'm guilty too. Before I knew better, I did it too. But we got to just be more careful and aware.
It's tempting. It's literally clickbait. It is bait. They're baiting people to click it. They know what will get people to click, and being scared that somebody has died or that some horrible thing has happened makes you want to click on this thing. But like you said, you did this you brought this on yourself, Anakin. If you go to the mall and you lick a handrail and you get sick, you can't say that somebody has attacked you.
Amen.
Don't lick the handrail, people.
Which brings us to fake news. There's fake news all over the internet. Julia Roberts is not dead.
Or Randy Travis.
That's not who it was. Who was it last
Randy
week?
Travis.
Randy Travis. Poor Randy Travis. He's not well. He's got Parkinson's, but he's on TikTok and he's doing well. And everybody keeps wanting to kill poor Randy Travis off. Yeah, all that fake news.
Not nice. Well, we had bullying on our list, but we already kind of talked about that.
Yeah,
bullying,
sure.
But bullying is not okay no matter the age. We can't just point the finger at little kids who are on social media or teenagers. Anybody can be bullied on social media. And there are some people who just want to watch the world burn, and they're going to comment on anything you post. And just because somebody shares their opinion does not mean you need to respond with what your opinion is.
Really? It's true. And don't you think it has to do with like whatever mood or mindset they're in at the moment?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, your response to anything is gauged by your present state of mind, right? So,
which is why people they should wait. I used to tell, when I was district director in Toastmasters, I used to tell my team, whenever we would get an email that was from somebody that was disgruntled or whatever, I'd say, don't respond right away. And they would tell me, don't respond right away, Tina, don't respond right away. We would tell each other that because we knew we would be defensive or argumentative, and we didn't want to come across that way. We wanted to think about it and logically look at their side and everything. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on because I could go on all day about that.
Yeah. The next one on our list is trolls, which are basically like bullies, but trolls actually search through social media looking for stuff to pick on. And you never know who might be one, because I had a friend of mine from when I was young who seemed like a real sweet guy, did a lot of charity work, all kind of stuff. And I accidentally, because Facebook has a tendency to show you stuff your friends are commenting on, depending on certain settings, or it used to. And I came across some places where he was being a troll and talking bad about people that certain posts were about that were public, like from media sites. And people would reply to him and say stuff like, well, that's not a nice thing to say. And he would get into fights with these people. And it was no good reason. There was no good reason. So I don't know, maybe his mental health status or whatever, but you would never know from his posts that he posted publicly on his own page that he was like that. And it was really shocking. And there's no good excuse to be a troll. And try not to feed the trolls. That's what Tina always tells me. Don't feed the troll.
Well, and my daughter Livia, when she was younger, even when she was only a teenager, I would say, this person commented this or whatever. And she would say, Mom, they're trolls. Do not respond to it. Don't feed them. And it's true. I get it. But you just feel this great need to like defend yourself. But anyway, let's see. So the next thing on our list was, about how people feel safe behind a screen to say whatever they want. Mm-hmm. And you and I have talked about that. And one of the things that really cracks me up is that people will post one day praise Jesus. I'm thankful to be alive and be kind to everyone, et cetera, et cetera. And then the next day they'll post a meme targeting a certain group of people. Mm-hmm. And I have been very vocal about that kind of thing. And it's not always served me well, but at least I can say I'm trying, but everybody, that just because you don't believe something is biblically sound doesn't mean you have to say anything about it, because not everybody believes the same things you believe. Mm-hmm. And so all of these people that are saying be kind to everyone, but then turning around sharing something that is disparaging to the LGBTQIA community, shame on you.
Yeah.
You can get me started again, girl.
We could do a whole episode of Sauce just on behaving the way Jesus did is very different from the way a lot of our supposed Christian friends behave.
Oh, for real.
Especially online, because when you're safe behind that screen, you feel untouchable. That's why
none of us is perfect.
Do what they do.
Not saying we are, but there are some people who continuously contradict themselves. And so one of the things that I had written about on my blog quite a while back, was a topic that I called restraint. And I talked about how when I was younger, I didn't say, if I saw something wrong, or if I saw something wrong, I think I would say something. But if I saw somebody arguing politically about something, I never spoke up, even if I totally disagreed with them. Even as an adult, it wasn't until I was in my 40s or 50s that I actually started saying, you might want to rethink that. And I always felt bad about it, because I thought, I feel like I'm not standing up for what I believe in. But there's a difference between being a wimp and not standing up for what you believe in and using restraint. And in plenty of cases, you use restraint because it's the right thing to do. But sometimes you use restraint because it's what's best for you at the moment. And so I'm not always willing to. I've been public about the fact that my daughter is transgender, and I'm not always willing to. And often I am willing to say, that's not very nice. I have a daughter who's transgender, and you have no idea what you're talking about. On the other hand, there have been times where I have seen posts on Facebook that I was fully prepared to say, to argue with, but I considered who wrote the post and where it was posted and said, I'm going to use restraint this time, because this person is not going to respond well to it. And it's going to become an argument no matter what I do, how nice I am, or whatever. And so I won't.
We have a lot of negatives for social media, unfortunately, but one of them, this is not a bad person situation. This is kind of the other way around. There's FOMO. If you've not heard of FOMO, it stands for fear of missing out, and it's more or less, this is more of a caution for yourself: is don't go on Instagram and see all these people who are doing things you wish you could do and haven't been able to achieve, and let it make you feel bad. If you're scrolling and going, oh, I wish I looked that good. Oh, I wish I had that much money. Oh, I wish I had more education. Oh, I wish I had done more with my life, whatever. Oh, I wish I could go to Greece, whatever it is. Stop doing that. Get off of social media if you find yourself getting into that. Right. Or following those people. If you have somebody you're following and following them makes you feel bad about yourself, first you need to change your attitude, because their life is not your life, and nothing you see on social media is as perfect as it looks through the screen. You might see somebody laying on a white sand beach and saying, look at me having fun. and then they put their phone down and they're in the depths of depression. You don't know what the reality is on the other side of that screen.
That's true. That's true.
They could be on a vacation they can't really afford, and they're going to spend the next 5 or 10 years trying to pay it back. You don't know what the situation is. So don't feel bad about the perfection that you're witnessing, I guess.
Oh, sure. And you made me think of something else too, is that what we post on social media is what people are reacting to.
And the last thing we had on our negative list was policing, which I wrote that down, and my thought on that was, not all of these social media sites have people watching what's being posted. And so sometimes anything goes. And I mean, to the point where there are Facebook groups that are hate groups, intentionally out to hate people and do bad things. And I have to criticize you for a minute, Facebook. You can't go and put somebody in Facebook jail and suspend their profile for every little thing they do, and then let stuff like hate groups happen at the same time.
It's true.
And I have so many friends who think and this is a kind of the spam thing again, but it's not really spam. It's just one of those things that people overshare, is the thing about Facebook is trying to block this image or whatever, and it's a picture of Jesus or something. And they keep saying that no, that's not what they're blocking. They're blocking stupid stuff. And like, we've both had it happen where Facebook has blocked our profile or our business pages because they said we posted something inappropriate. And most of the time we can't even figure out what it was, because they make it so then you can't even see what it was. And you're like, what did I do? And it's like this perpetual.
And there's no easy way to dispute it either, because remember that I jokingly said to your sister-in-law, Lori, I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you. And the next thing I know, Facebook's flagging my account and asking me, did I agree that I said that? And I did agree I said it. I mean, it was there. I couldn't deny it, but I was joking with Lori because she asked us what was the surprise we were going to share. Mm-hmm. And that was my response. Mm-hmm. And so I said, yeah, I admit that I did this. I clicked the button for that. And I thought it was going to then ask me for my explanation, but it didn't. It just went ahead and flagged my account for inappropriate material for over a year. Mm-hmm. And it didn't stop me from doing anything, but it made me so nervous that I created an alternate Facebook profile that I connected to all my business pages because I didn't want to lose my administrative rights. And so I still have that alternate profile because I was concerned, about, because this was on my personal account, not my page. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Okay. So moving on, let's look at the pros. We talk so much about the negatives. Let's get this straight. I love social media, at least certain platforms. What about you, Priscilla?
I do too. For me, it's entertainment. And I think that's probably the number one pro, is it's something entertaining. But it's also, like we were just talking about, we had business profiles. It's really a good way to share your business, especially if you're a small business and you're trying to get the word out. So that's a huge thing. There was a time when I hated social media so much. I was getting so irritated with all the spam and negativity and stuff that I probably would have at least taken a break from it if it wasn't for my business.
Same. I couldn't. Mm-hmm. Same. Yeah. And because I manage the groups and page for church and for some of my Toastmasters clubs, and same. If you are a person that's going to be using social media for marketing and communication for your business or something else, an organization you belong to or whatever, you need to learn, excuse me, you need to learn the difference between pages and groups and how they work, because groups are completely different than pages. And for goodness sake, stop using the @everyone tag, please. And the highlight tag. Oh my goodness, I want to scream. And and while we're on that subject, I'm getting back to the negatives. Stop posting on your personal page and tagging 98 friends. If they're your friends, they're going to see your post unless they have unfollowed you for a reason. So stop tagging people. I'm done. Go on.
Of course, the next biggest one we had was stay in touch with family and friends.
For sure. Yeah.
And that's fun because sometimes you get back in touch with people you haven't seen in 30 years.
It's true. Yeah. I don't think, when the first time I got on Facebook, it was 2008. It was right after Dad had died. And I don't remember who was on Facebook that kept saying, you got to get on, you got to get on. It might have been you, huh?
No, you were on first.
I was on first. And so I immediately went and looked for all the young people who had worked for us when we had the cafe. Because I'm like, they're young. They're probably on social media. Mm-hmm. And I reconnected with almost every single employee from when we owned our restaurant. And they are all doing so wonderful. That's a whole nother story. But it just made me feel so good now that I can keep in touch with them. One of the young men that worked for us became a priest, and I was aware of that. And because of Facebook, I got to see him as an adult and what he looked like. Otherwise, I probably would not have recognized him because he was no longer this little round-faced boy. He had a beard and he was manly. And I ran into him at PJ's Coffee House. And when I ran into him, I was able to greet him as Father Kyle because I knew from social media that he had become a priest. So those things are great. And you and I talked about how certain family members that we haven't seen in years, we feel like we know them so well now when, 10 years ago or whatever, or even 15 years ago, we didn't know what their kids' names were or how old they were or anything, except through the grapevine or whatever.
It's nice because it feel more closeness with the extended family. And we have a huge family.
Yeah.
We have so many
cousins
kids in our generation and the next down and everything. There's so many kids. Our grandmother had how many? 14 grandkids?
14 grandchildren.
Yeah. I think I was the youngest in
You were the youngest, yeah.
First layer. And then there was tons of great grandchildren and down.
Yeah. That's been really cool. I like that. We should start a group for our family. That would be funny, huh? I never thought of that.
Have one for each side.
That would be kind of cool. Yeah, we have to think about that. I didn't even think about it till just now. Okay.
That's a good idea. Let's see what all the cousins think. All right. Real news. We talked about that. A lot of people are on Facebook to see the news. I'm on Facebook so I can see the news.
Yeah.
And I've listened to the radio, but you only get traffic and weather usually on there for the most part.
Well, and a lot of times you're distracted and you don't hear everything on the radio or even on the TV. We have the TV on a lot of the times, but it doesn't mean we're paying attention to it.
Right. And it's not always news. So it's a great way to, but you have to, don't get your news from just whoever. That's another thing. Make sure it's a legitimate.
I learned that the hard way yesterday. I shared something with the family that was not true.
Well, it looked true.
It did look true, right?
Mm-hmm. And now there's AI, so you don't even know if pictures of people you're looking at are real. Somebody shared a picture this morning on something that was shown to me in my feed. It was not even a page I follow because now they're doing this thing where they just show you whatever.
Well, you only saw people you followed. That I noticed that because I'm like, why am I getting all these posts that are for this, that, or the other? I don't follow that page. And then I'll look right above it in little letters suggested for you.
Facebook didn't used to do that. And they didn't do it at all at first. And then it was just like you would be scrolling for a while and then there would be a layer that was suggested stuff. And then you would get past it. And it would be, again, only people and pages you followed. Now, half of my feed is suggested stuff.
Craziness.
It's ridiculous. I don't like that. So that's another negative thing. However, the post in question, it was a page I don't follow, but for whatever reason, it was suggested to me because it was a Gen X related page. and I am of the Gen X generation. And it was a picture of Joey Ramone and Debbie Harry. And somebody and people in the comments were making joke responses and saying like, that's Sid and Nancy, or that's Howard Stern and Madonna, or but it was obviously supposed to be Joey Ramone and Blondie, Debbie Harry. And somebody said, that's not even real, it's AI. And, my eyes are like, and I'm trying to look at my phone and I'm like making it bigger. And you could tell when you got real zoomed in that it was AI, that it wasn't even a real picture. So you don't even know what you're looking at anymore. The deep fakes are serious stuff. But yeah, so look for real news from real sources, like if your local news channels that come on your TV, W whatever.
Right.
Look for them. They have their own pages. Follow them. Not everything they post is going to necessarily be quality, but anything that's happening locally or nationally that needs your attention should be on one of them.
Yeah, and you can also you can also like follow their page to get alerts when they go live and all. So that's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and which they only go live technically, if it's something urgent, usually, unless Johnny Depp is having another trial. I don't know.
Lord, don't get me started on that one.
Yeah, that's another subject. And then, of course, learning new skills.
Yeah.
We talked about, people use YouTube a lot to learn how to fix things on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Or fix
and other things. AJ watched a YouTube video on how to change the battery in our what do they call it? The Roomba, the vacuum cleaner that goes around the house. Our battery died in it, and he ordered the new battery, but then couldn't figure out how to take it apart to get the battery in. And so he watched a video on YouTube about it.
There you go. So
yeah. I know you've used it to change filters in your dishwasher and all that kind of stuff too. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Cool. It's pretty handy. And then, you could learn some cool new dance moves.
Yeah. Especially on TikTok, right?
Yeah. TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, you can find pages and things that will teach you how to cook, how to dance.
YouTube, yeah.
Different stuff.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Lots of fun stuff. So there are pros, even though we have spent 99% of our time bashing social media today. There are some good stuff. So it's up to you to filter it, right?
Yeah. Hopefully we've provided some education amidst all of our personal opinions. Mine more than anybody's. I'm not a hater.
I'm just
saying. I'm not hating. I'm just stating. Did I make that up?
That's the moral of our story today is just use your brains. Use caution. Do your research before you post. Be mindful when you're on social media, and don't sit on there too long. You'll stay up late and you won't be able to get enough rest.
Don't sit, be fit. We could come up with all these little things. Beware, don't share. Or beware before you share. We could come up with all these little sayings about social media. We should, yeah, we got a whole nother show we could do about that, girl.
Do you have any sauce for thought today?
I do. I have some sauce for thought. Admittedly, it is not my own. I will share with you something that I saw on social media. I saw it on social media. Yes, it was a picture. And okay, so disclaimer, I always call things memes if they're a picture and they have some kind of message on them, but I know that's not technically the real meaning of a meme. But anyway, it was a graphic that had some information on it that I thought was really cool. And I shared it with Priscilla and I said, I think I'm going to use this as my sauce for thought this week. And I have heard some of this, even in Toastmasters, like when we're speaking, they will tell us all the time, people aren't going to remember what you said. They're going to remember how you made them feel, right? And that this is sort of on the same lines as that. The graphic said, Nobody will remember your salary, how busy you are, how many hours you worked, or how many Gucci bags you owned. So you get the message there. They're not going to look at all that, but they will remember how you made them feel, the time you spent with them, if you kept your word, and if they could count on you. And I just thought that was a real great lesson in life.
Yeah, I like that. That's really good.
Think about that this week. How can you put that into action? But make sure you make yourself a priority.
And take care of you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us. Make sure you subscribe to keep up on all the latest sauce. See you next time.